What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology retold action, spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color here. Playing as Poseidon, his name is Matador. His opponent today in everyone's favorite or least favorite god. I mean, I was going to say everyone's favorite or least favorite color, but then that didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Nonetheless, he's in the red color. He's playing as Gaia. His name is Kvoth. You either love him or you hate him. Well, not him, her. It's mostly Gaia. Recently, we've been hearing a little bit of chatter amongst certain individuals around the community. Myself being one of those people, I want to try and not be one of those people, but sometimes it's really, really hard to keep those opinions to yourself because I just dislike this the strength at which gods like Gaia are at. I don't want to make it about me. I'm here to watch this this game of Kvoth versus Poseidon, but I want to set this up and say at the moment, Poseidon is at like a 70-ish% lose rate against Gaia. Poseidon players are not beating Gaia at the 1500 level and above. And I think the higher rating you get, the more it gets skewed in the favor of Gaia. Now, there is a argument that Gaia players are just better than the Poseidon players currently playing. That could be the case, but I haven't really seen the matchup all too much, and I'd like to have a watch and see exactly what happens here. Now, one thing that could be possible is, and one thing that makes sense to me, is given the state of Gaia's economy, which is really, really strong, second gold mines are always going to be a challenge. Now, the other problem is if you want to go for a one town center sort of idea, you just simply don't have the economy to deal with a one town center. Gaia is my current stance on it. I've been trying to make one town center work against Gaia for a little bit, and you literally have to play perfectly to find wins, and it's just really, really challenging. Nonetheless, again, I don't want to make this about me, but we'll see exactly what El Matador is going to do. Definitely a higher rated player than I am, playing against Kvoth, who is currently rank 1 on the ladder, but refuses to play on his rank 1 account because that's the type of person he is. No, I'm just kidding. I love Kvoth. He's a great guy. He's a great streamer. He's a great all-around individual to have in the world of Age of Mythology. But he's playing his Gaia right now, and he's going to try and deal with this. Now, we are on the map River Shallows? Nile Shallows? We got there in the end. Nile Shallows? Forgetting names. And on this map, you do have some pretty interesting sort of situations here. And most of it comes down to second town center placement. So you can see right here, second town center with a pretty close gold mine over here and a nice forest on this position compared over to Kvoth's town center, which his gold mine is way out in the open, in all honesty here. So in terms of like what I like here, I like the base here for El Matador. And we are seeing El Matador open with the stable straight away. And the Centaur is going to be looking for some pressure here, as we're also seeing a really, really early channels coming through for Kvoth out of that temple here. Now, this is a big investment. You could get channels or you could get an extra oracle here. But in getting channels, you get a lot of movement speed on the Lush, which is absolutely huge. If you do see that Gaia Forest getting moved onto the other side, Centaur going to come through here and attempt to get a little bit of damage done. Galadria pops out, going to be able to snare that Centaur or pacify that Centaur or whatever it's called. What is it called? I can't remember. Nonetheless, it doesn't really matter. And he's going to be dropping double military barracks. He's got no idea what El Matador is going for just yet. He hasn't scouted the stable, but double military barracks to kick the game off with. And we'll see if he just goes straight into some catapulties right now, or if he's going to go straight into Terma. Opening up with a handful of Terma makes a little bit of sense because it gives him that kind of pressure on the map. And he can get out and get some serious damage done. We do see an Oracle here. Going to be getting targeted down. He does have that Tusks of the Iron Boar. Wanting to keep that one alive here. Definitely trying to keep it away from El Matador. El Matador sees this and he's like, I need this one for myself right now. Oracle Hero going to be getting taken down. Galadria going to be getting taken down. And the relic in the hands of El Matador changes everything here. ladies and gentlemen. Terma now going to be popping out, going to be looking for that centaur. Can take it down really, really quickly, so long as it gets the right shots off. There's 2 little pot shots coming in. Hippias going to be coming through there. And with this relic, those Hippias become very, very strong. And now this basically means that Kvoth is going to be needing to make some catapulties, and he is going to be making those at the moment. Now, as soon as I see catapulties as Poseidon, my first idea, second idea, and third idea are all based around grabbing myself a little cheeky military academy and start making those hoplites out. So you see a little bit of damage coming onto the Hippias here as it gets pushed back. 165 HP already is absolutely insane, right? They start at 150. Already 4 villages onto the temple here. Is El Matador going to be wanting to make some of those centaurs? He could also go for immediate, like, spirited charge to get him even more speed. So we see another little upgrade coming in. Girdle for Politer, making those hit points go up on the ranged soldiers there. Also going to be getting himself the winged messenger here to get himself some kind of line of sight on the map and seeing how things are going to go. And now the Terma going to be moving across the map here. Is that Atalanta here going to be searching for someone to take out. Now the easiest way to play, if you're a Gaia player, Atlantean player, and you keep getting your Oracle sniped, is when you come out onto these hunt patches here, put your Oracle over here, because you could just garrison into that manner and then your opponent can't kill it with just one Atalanta. Obviously also you're going to be able to get yourself a little bit of movement speed there if you want to run as well, as the army of Kvoth searching into the main base of El Matador. El Matador just going to be sitting in here, massing units up, playing a very, very defensive game for the time being here. As the Atalanta now in the main base of... Look at the speed on those catapults. 5.2 at the moment. They could also get an upgrade. But he's just going to be running through, seeing exactly what's happening here for our main man, Kvoth. Kvoth, at the moment, not really producing all too much. He's got an armory queued up here. He's going to be getting that one. And it looks like he's going to be trying to get to the next age. Thank you for the 12 months, Connie! Yes, Aussie. Connie AUS. How you doing, my dude? As those Term are going to be pulling back into the main base. If we take a quick look at Kvoth's point of view, he's got an Oracle checking out the town center over here. He's got the Oracle in his main base. He is struggling a little bit for favor because he's refusing to build any. But in getting Weightless Mace, in getting all these upgrades and making all the units here, he's also going to be getting himself that survival equipment there to make his villagers even more powerful in this game. In doing all of this, he's just finding himself with the most ridiculous advantage right now. You see the upgrades coming in. He's got fantastic upgrades, nearly fully upgraded, already getting himself plow at the moment. It's so cheap. There's no reason to wait on it, so to speak, as the Hippias going to be charging through. There's still those centaur pole marks over there, which is going to be a little bit of a problem to deal with, but a couple of hero Terma with good micro and the catapulties is going to be a really, really easy way to deal with that, as the army going to be pulling back in. The catapulties are here, can turn around and tank for days with those, especially with those Caladria. The micro from Kvoth to keep those Caladria alive, very, very simple. You just have to move them perpendicular to where the arrows are coming from. No real problems where that's concerned. The villager over here getting targeted down ever so slightly. If it's on the Gaia Lush here, it actually gets health back over time, as El Matador is attempting to put some pressure on right now. Citizens getting pulled back, have to jump into that manor there, as the rest of those units of Kvoth just sitting, waiting, watching, and he's noticing that El Matador just going to be spamming units out for the time being, so that's completely fine for him to deal with here. As the army going to be charging out onto this side. Centaur getting that special ability off, but Hippias gets sniped down. A couple of Terma over here going to take a little bit of a beating on this one. Good micro from El Matador, but the Terma stays alive with 1 HP, and it will simply put just come back up to full HP. Farm's now starting to come out. Gold mine situation right now. This is the big question. 1,000 gold over here for El Matador, and he's going to the next age. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, gold mine is expiring here. So this is the scary point for Kvoth in this game, is my gold mine's expiring, my opponent's going to be heroic age, and I need to defend it somehow. But population differential kind of slightly in favor of Kvoth at the moment. So if he wants to take a fight, he can definitely manage to do that. Units charging forward, looking for a big fight at the moment as the villagers are going to come over onto the gold mine. The Pegasus here is going to be spotting that as the army all charges around here. But El Matador has to say, I've got no answer to these speedy catapulties here. So I've got to retreat back and wait for something else. Easy solution is a couple of barracks and making those a pacifist at the moment. But that does play into a transition into going for, whatchamacallits, Contarius. If your opponent goes for a massive pacifist or makes a bunch of a pacifist, then you can get into the Contarius much easier. As the Caladri going to heal everything back up. A cheeky little economic guild out in the center of the map. Going to spread that lush as we see the Aphrodite coming through here. Hippias going to be charging back in onto this position as the army getting caught out ever so slightly here. Those citizen, they're going to be left untouched for the time being there. That was a little bit risky. Now at the moment, there's really no timing available. You see the difference in army value. If you curse this army, it's still going to be 800 resources in front for Kvoth. So El Matador, he's hit the heroic age, but really all he's got going for him right now is the ability to transition into Hoplite Peltas. And this is always going to be the composition which you want to go for against Atlantean. It's really, really strong. If you have any sort of really meaty front line with the Hoplites and any sort of counter units, it can be a really, really good way to play. We'll see how it's all going to go as the Catapulti over here gets sniped down. Centaur getting now charge over here, but there are still some heroes on this position here. We do see Thea has been clicked up. As the army going to be charging through. Kvoth is still in. He's losing some units here, but so far, really not losing all too much. Army over here needs to get back up onto this position and defend as those Centaur charging forward. There's not that many heroes on this position right now for Kvoth. He is getting himself caught out in a big way as that economic guild gets sniped down there, but there's still going to be a whole bunch of lush remaining here as the army circling in from behind here. Centaur on this position, going to have to retreat off. Look at that 6.1 speed for those catapulties while they're on that lush. They do drop down to 5.3 speed, chasing those units away, but El Matador cannot engage at the moment as he's going to pull all the way back home. The Catapulti heroes and normal Catapulti here going to be charging across here, but look at this. The villagers now moving on to the gold mine as we're now starting to see a pacifist. But with that Thea coming through, I would expect Contarius to be coming in, and the transition away from this full counter-barracks army is going to be very, very much over. As we also see an immediate flood of the night or flood control coming through, so those villagers are going to be getting so much food. If you guys don't realize, this is 10%, but you're like 20% in front of what your opponent is. Take a look at the actual food income on the farms, 1.26, and your opponent currently grabbing on goats is like, with husbandry, is 1.00. Those are farms. They just last forever and you don't have to think about it. They go up even higher. Let's see. What does it go up to? Like 1.3 something? Close to that 1.5. Basically, very, very close to Hunt here is what I'm trying to say for an Atlantean citizen. Super good to be getting this fast. I mean, I'm genuinely interested in what this goes up to. 1.37, so 0.13 behind Hunt, but with no risk, right? So it's a great little way to play this one. As the army here spots all of those infantry units, a great little hoplite pacifist army has been constructed here for El Matador, as Kvoth going to be pulling all the way back home. We see some citizens sneaking up over here to grab the hippopotamus on that position there. But there's going to be a whole bunch of dryads coming through. We see the Kvoth army turning around, taking out some of those hippias on that position there. Deciding not to take the fight just yet. He's going way too heavy on the infantry here. I don't see any of those Contarius coming out just yet, as the army quite obviously was always going to transition into these infantry units here, but Kvoth gets caught out. The catapult is coming around onto the backside here, charging down against those centaurs over there, as those infantry units of El Matador seemingly going to be demolishing on this front here, but the Stymphalian bird is in. That's going to be huge. Dryad's going to be huge as well. And El Matador, even with the unit composition, great catch out from El Matador with those Pacifists. It's just not enough. The Dryad mass. The Centaur gets sent packing here, and El Matador has to pull back, and now we see Contarius coming through, and that completely cuts out any sort of ability to be making those Contarius anymore. And now El Matador, he has to go for Hoplite Peltast, but the army of Kvoth is just so insanely strong. Armory upgrade series got some decent ones. How is El Matador going? El Matador, in all honesty, pretty decent upgrades as well, comparable to what Kvoth has got going here. As a Catapulti going to be charging forward. Centaur's hanging in the back here, going to be getting a little bit of damage done onto this one as Kvoth doesn't care. He's just going to be charging forward. He knows he's got the military advantage right now. Term are going to be charging in onto the villagers over there, taking out the units onto this position, sniping the villagers on here. We see Contarius coming in to take villagers down. And the economic difference right now between what Kvoth has got and what El Matador has got is stark, ladies and gentlemen. He has got so much more economy than El Matador. And I think this is simply put the reason why he's so far in front. It's literally just because he's been able to get those economic upgrades. If we take a look over what El Matador's got, it's not like he doesn't have economic upgrades either. He's also got them, but he is just behind on what Kvoth... Actually, he's not. Kvoth doesn't even have himself shaft mine. This is a surprise to me. And you can see he's struggling for gold at the moment. As those Centaur are going to be coming back in. This Centaur mass that El Matador has constructed here is a bit of an issue right now for Kvoth. But Kvoth has got himself some favor in the bank. 66 favor here, so he can convert into heroes if he needs to. Townsend are going to be coming up, taking a bit of a slow route here at the moment as the Stymphalian bird going to take a lot of damage there. The rain of arrows really zoning for the time being. El Matador manages to keep himself alive here. This is big for El Matador. He's still got Curse in the bank. I'm not sure what he's saving that for. I'm surprised he didn't use it on the last fight. Nonetheless, Centaur going to be charging around onto this side. He's got to be careful being on the Gaia Lush of Kvoth. Kvoth gets a palace up onto this position, securing his gold mine there as those hoplites are seeing a town center up. And now El Matador is going to be panicking. He's going to be thinking, wow, I need to get my own town center as well, which is arguably the right decision. He realistically can't get to the mythic age here, I don't think. Has to put a fortress down and get the 1,000 food in, plus get 1,000 gold as well, basically, there as well. So it's going to be a challenge for him. He's trying to muster up the units for the time being. A palace coming down onto this side as well, as Kvoth is going to be constricting El Matador in this game, as the unit's going to be taking this fight for the time being. Curse gets dropped down. Kvoth, simply put, he can just retreat back and keep making these Murmillo, which are just really, really strong here. Centaur charging forward now, as we see the Centaur moving up onto the right side of the map, and they're going to find a palace for the time being here. But, I mean, I'm still fairly certain that Kvoth can just take these fights, as we see an economic guild getting dropped down, trying to get himself just a little bit of that Gaia Lush up onto this position to make defending this one that little bit easier. A whole bunch of hero Murmillo coming in, and these things pack a punch with that serrated blade passive coming through from Bite of the Shark there. As the gold mine back getting grabbed. We see the town center now coming up for El Matador. He's playing a great game here thus far to keep himself in it. We see the Carnivora coming in. The big fat Murmillos charging in, zoning off those Centaur on the back, as the army on the front here looking like it's going to get cleaned up in a big way, as the Centaur have to pull all the way back into the main base, as the Centaur over there almost getting sniped down. Not going to quite be able to manage to make that happen there, as the Hoplite's going to be retreating back. And El Matador is slowly but surely falling behind in this game. There's just so many resources, or such good macro from Kvoth thus far. Look at the resources. The comparison in spend here is insane. As the hero Murmillo just charging forward, they don't care. Picks off one Centaur, can pick off more. The Contarius don't care about anything else. They can just come in and pick villagers off underneath this town center. He's still at full population. He's getting himself a third town center on the front there, as well as the hero is still charging in after those Centaur, deleting the house on the back there, as the army of Kvoth is taking villagers out. The farms are idle. Contarius getting a little bit of jabs off onto those Centaur. This is a great massive Centaur created here, but In the end, does it even matter? A couple of hero Contaris wouldn't go astray here to chase those down either, as the army of Kvoth going to charge in after the villagers. Look at the units in the queue right now for Kvoth. I was saying good macro, but that's not good macro, ladies and gentlemen. You need to get yourself more than 3 military barracks and spam those out. And he's not building any. He's just getting town centers up. But in the end, it doesn't even matter, as Kvoth claims the dub in 20 minutes right now, absolutely dominating what I thought was a really, really well-executed game plan from El Matador. I feel like he caught Kvoth out. Kvoth, like, overbuilt Catapulties in a big way here because he wasn't scouting what El Matador was doing. And then when that fight happened, I think El Matador not clicking the curse, and I think there may have been a little bit of something going on with the Gaia Lush. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you fight on Gaia Lush, Gaia is still getting 1 HP a second through that fight. Is that correct or is that not correct? It might be half. It might be 0.5. It might be 5 or 1. It might be 1 or it might be 0.5. Either way, that really does manage to help out in a big way. And here's the other thing that I think most people aren't seeing or feeling. This graph here is insane. When did the town center go? We can discard, we can discard when the town center comes up. Let's just look at when that is. I'm really not trying to create an agenda here or anything. But we see 17 minutes in, and this is just how the matchup goes. So 17 minutes in, and your opponent is 3,300 resources in front of you. That's a Mythic Age. So, not saying that this game is all about economy. Not saying that anything about that. But I'm just saying that I thought that right now in this game that it seemed to me that El Matador's strategy here, catching Kvoth out, I'm surprised he didn't win that fight. So I'm not exactly sure what went wrong for him, but I want to say that if it's the case that you can't do a 1 town center game here, is it possible to go 2 town centers here with Poseidon? I don't know. The other option, which might be a very good possibility for Poseidon, is to go through what? Ares. If Hermes doesn't work, try Ares. And where does Ares shine? Ares shines with Phobos' Spear of Panic. I don't think you can realistically go for Cyclops against Atlantean just on the fact that they're just going to convert all their units to heroes and they're going to absolutely demolish you, right? When they see the Cyclops. You might be able to go for them a little bit later in the game, but early on, Phobos' Spear of Panic, or even getting out the Hypaspis nice and early with that Deimos' Sword of Dread. Is that what it's called? I don't remember. To get Hypaspis out in the classical age and go for more of a hoplite, hippiest sort of idea might be the better play here for Poseidon, but I don't know. I'm not saying anything about this. I'm trying to pose questions. You guys tell me what you think, and we'll go through it and see if we can work it out together. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this one, please hit that follow and hit that subscribe button, all the other good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. Whee!